Hello.
Hi. Sorry, a bit late.
What's that? Oh, that's all right.
Okay. So,
I found the mimer for Pesach. It's only a few pages ahead of where we are.
okay. Let's
So,
go. Which one is it?
mimer Chav Zayin.
Sounds good.
It's a little long, but we could divide it in half maybe, or whatever's good for you.
Mamer klali l'chvoid Chag Pesach. Menino deal Rom kvodo tover chodesh. Shalom daiti ze lo kvar. Kavana b'diber Chazal shares the kamashim ayisin avoch b'zeh was stooped by this. V'ata no dali kavana samaymar b'adayin lo dati l'cher zulo so. Like Rom kvodo hu arishon. Okay, and first no. Yaduma moram zabi arbe b'tzom kuf tezayin beis, but Mishnah Shom chol dor v'dor chayav adam liyosu satzmo kili yotzim Mitzrayim. And every generation person is supposed to see himself as if he left Egypt. Meildi ha'isin avach was I was always stumped by this. Ech yuchal adam l'kayim halacha zu. How can a person fulfill this halacha? Halom ruchayev. Obviously, he has to fulfill this halacha because it says chayev. B'chol makom sham ruchayev chovo. It's an obligation. How can a person fulfill this halacha? Sheyeh beinav kilu yotzim Mitzrayim. Yishmin his eyes like as if he left Egypt. According to our lowly capacities, this is not possible. How can a person depict this with his eyes? And if there are people who can use their imagery in such a way, how can it possible for everybody? Hello, Rabbi, not everybody is so smart or talented. I used to say different interpretations. But I was not satisfied with this. This year I thought of a simple meaning, which is wonderful. The Yikari Yetzlimot is very precious by me. Midarki Liaker Divrei Razal. My path is to hold and esteem the words of Chazal. V'lo omar rak l'mishachzik oso not to say them over to anybody unless I believe it's going to be a benefit to them. Even the words of Chazal, which seems to be open knowledge. It's as if I'm taking something very precious, but somebody's going to toss it out. So that's my derech to refrain from sharing even chazals unless I feel that they are going to be significant to the recipient. I found this. Love, the seed in which the Torah is beloved, pazer, scatter Torah. Beloved, if not, curtail the amount of Torah. Kanes. Some ancient source says, Chochmo, Shmor Shmiras Nedivim. Watch your wisdom with the watchful eye of a magnanimous or generous person. And I said this interpretation, just like a magnanimous person. The truth is that money is very precious to him. Tzaddikim, their money is more precious than their bodies. Because they don't steal it. That has to be a person's outlook to find money precious if it's on his gain. But if he's not concerned with the money, which is precious in his eyes, nevertheless to volunteer a place for a mitzvah, and to be careful not to accomplish ill-gotten gains. That person should call on the thief. If his money is not precious to him, so the fact that he gives it away easily, and also doesn't show that he's magnanimous. He doesn't really care about that much. So it has to be the same thing with wisdom. Somebody who finds it easy to disperse wisdom to whoever he wants, to whoever it is, without any regard. Shows that wisdom is insignificant for him. It's like something which is degraded by him, but he doesn't preserve it. I suppose somebody who gives Chochma only to those who are worthy of that Chochma. That shows he's truly magnanimous. But he wants to derive pleasure or benefit to he who will derive pleasure or benefit from it. Even watch Chochma with the safeguarding of a magnanimous person. Just like a person magnanimous, nevertheless only gives money to the person who's worthy. Can only give you Chochma only to somebody to whom it's precious. And Baruch Hashem Kiyanti Misvara, I fulfill this on my own logic, deduce this on my own logic. So Machdi Matzos came Rishonim, and I rejoice to found some Rishonim. To you I see Divitar precious with happiness and with a good heart. I rejoice in able to write to such a worthy person. Asher Tila Oseh Allah Rosh Chazak Baruch Hashem makes upon him a strong impression. Okay. What?
We still haven't gotten to Pesach.
Right.
Only the kasha.
Now. Let's start with Purim. Megillah Dafi Dalmav Gedol Asor Tabas. The removal of Achashverosh, the removal of his ring and giving it to Haman was greater in generating tshuva. Yosef Memechas Nevi'im Sheba Nevios, more than 48 male prophets and a prophetess is who prophesied for the Jewish people. Nobody got to do tshuva properly. But removing the ring and brought them back to the good. This Maimer also requires explanation. My Kamashim is what's coming to tell us. So it seems it's saying a great thing. From this we learn. Greatest sage. They were great sages. Nevertheless, intellect does not make such an impression. As opposed to something which takes place in concrete ways in days of Mordechai and Esther. Since the cognition of the senses is so great, so powerful, person has to make reward and punishment not abstract, but as much as possible, something which relates to the senses. That's why we have this concept of depicting afflictions. As if they literally come upon them. And to analyze how difficult it would be to tolerate them. Like the Pasuk says, it's best to go to the house of a mourner than to the house of joy. And somebody who's alive should pay attention. Perush. So what does it mean pay attention, El Libo? Yitzhar Bilbavo, he should depict in his heart. Us at that time, that the manner of death occurs to him, not to the person to whom it actually occurred. You should recall to him the day of death. My lo. What do you mean lo? Just say he's called Yom HaMaves. Mussar, it's superfluous. Avodavar Gadol Kivnu Bazeh. Levar, they came to tell us a very important thing. Somebody thinks about death is just an abstract concept. He's thinking about the death of so and so, no, not him. You refer to you yourself, to your Yom HaMavis, the day of your own death. And so to all the afflictions you have to depict upon yourself how much suffering a person violates Torah will receive. This will help very much to be careful of any sin. Perush, Kol Anashim Lachush teaches us the obligation to bring all punishments to a tangible sense. So I can say, "Kiva Kol Yamaya Isi Mitzvah." Okay, that's kind of out of left field. My entire life, I was in anguish. When will I be able to come to do this pasuk? B'chol nafshecha. B'chei kosu mishpatim. Chav beis perak chav dalet pasuk chav dalet. In kesed taviyas ani imach. If you loan money to the poor person who is with you, sham esani perish Rashi sham esani imach. Having mistakab aslokiu ato. Ani akan l'shono. You have to look at yourself as if you're the impoverished one. So the Akiva said, I always looked at myself.
Right.
Okay, not just in the abstract. This is clear. Because the person counts a shayis atzel. Lavos, don't be lazy to loan money. Because people normally are lazy about this. Mamara Kasu, the person that's having mistakilu atoni. Look at it as if you are the poor person. Would you be happy if the lender was lazy? You should not be lazy to loan. So it's explicit to make it tangible. As if you're the person, and then the loan will be easier for you to make. Now we can say, in B'divrei Olam, if it matters in this world, the person does have a feeling. The person is being close to his tangible senses. So that there should make impression upon him in a manner which will bring him to a will to do something to be effective. Things where a person does not automatically have a feel. When you misa, like the concept of death, we don't really know what that is until we do it, till we experience it, and then it's kind of late. So what's after death? Muflag and the extraordinary punishment, which a person cannot feel a person in his life. What should a person do? It's not possible for reward and punishment to make upon a person impression, except by bringing it close in some way, shape, or form to his senses. To depict the side in a deep way, a true depiction. How difficult and how bitter are the pain, the anguish, the torture, the pain. So it's true. It's not the same thing as Gehenna. Gehenna is a spiritual fire, not a physical fire. But everybody has had some suffering in their life, so they can extrapolate from the suffering they had to understand in a certain tangible, sensual way what that suffering will be. The side below me, you can extrapolate and depict in your heart in this manner. It's such small to the afflictions, relative to the afflictions of the soul. So bitter, hard, and bitter. The afflictions of the soul, how much more so? Who will be able to contain it? Who will be able to bear it? And the person will say to the soul, save yourself like a deer from the hands of a hunter. And how pleasant now the words above, Yaskir lo yomamisa. Perish lo latzmo to yourself. Having mistakab atzmacha kilatzani. Look at yourself as if you're poor. This chazal extrapolated, Yaskir lo yomamisa latzmo. Imagine death occurring to you. Comes out clearly. Person can't understand anything intellectually unless he makes it close to something tangible. Okay, I'm not sure it's the only thing, but that's what the Alter of Kelm was stressing now. The Yitzias Mitzrayim teaches us reward and punishment. Because the Ramban's also Parshas Bo. King is bar because the Yitzias Mitzrayim clarifies that there's somebody who conducts and pays attention. The Mitzrayim the only bum punished the Egyptian on their bad intention. They did good to the nation of Israel because they returned to him and kept his guarded that which he asked them to safeguard. And they cried out to him. Now this thing which happened many years ago. Which make upon him an impression which arouses him. So his to the extent that he should be aroused. It's not. It can't be in a simple way. Therefore, Chazal gave us counsel to make it close to our senses. To depict a true depiction. Were you a slave? And they would take you out of there. What would you think then? He would analyze, think in depth about the greatness of this master who released him. Give himself over and all that which he possesses to his master for eternity. By imagining yourself to be a slave in the present and your gratitude to the person who released you, that will make a great impression upon you. So the Chiddush is, even though the Pias Etzer has an exercise in which he tells us how to meditate as if you're leaving Egypt, he says most people can't do that. He says that's only so therefore for every person the obligation is to bring the miracle of to his, to close to tangible and sensual as possible. To think about himself being released from slavery. Like the person says, you look at yourself as a poor person. They say he's palel me'anes, and this way he will be amazed from the miracle. I'll see that the world has a master and conductor of whom we are in awe. We will worship for eternity. The Tov will be good for us for eternity. And these two statements from Purim and Pesach about making something tangible, making it have more of an impact, and making something more as if it's sensual and having more of an impact, they're linked to each other. It's like a button and a flower in the body of the menorah. So again, the idea is, although it's not possible for us to see ourselves as if we're leaving Egypt in the abstract sense and even in the historical sense, we have to make it as tangible as possible. They say about Reb Chatzkel Levenstein, who was a Kelmer. They say that in order to experience Kriyas Yamsuf, he used to line stenders up in the base medrash and walk between the stenders. And that way, he made it something which he could tangible, which he could sense with his senses. Now, of course, it's not the real thing. That's what the Alter of Kelm was saying. We can't do the real thing. Only great people do the real thing. But we can do something. And making something tangible and something which we can sense is the way we make things enter our and be assimilated into our mindset. Read this slowly and calmly. And I hope you get benefit from this. He'll say, because he is very great. The other says, from the time I came to Rasul Salat, Mussar. Only this with Chochmo, Mussar. This is the Torah which is in the corner waiting for people to make use of it. Only it will teach a person to fight the battles of Torah, the wars against nature. the wildness, shadam yivale with which a person is born. It's a great war to fight a power which is so bold and mighty like nature. If you only approach it with the governance of the intellect. Whose helpers are few, and gets weaker and weaker. Nature gets greater and greater. Zikne Amoritz, the elders of Amoritz, the older they get, the more their das is distorted. Besides the mightiness which is required in order to conquer your nature, more than that is to recognize the so to speak tricks, those the stratagems, with which Yetzirah deceives a person, with all sorts of stratagems. To capture him. Yitzhak knows everybody's nature and how to catch them accordingly. In this pathway which I walk, they put a stumbling block for me. They know how to mind the field specifically. Okay, now so the only way to deal with this is to know the treachery, the stratagems of the Yetzirah. Based on the kochas nefesh we possess. The Chochmo Mussar is to know how to make correspond the proper kochas and nefesh against the strategies which are used by the Yetzirah against the nefesh. Zui ma'idisa b'zohar huva b'kuzori could have a boy milfa pirka the chumasa. When person wanted to learn a perek in Chochma, I have a kadim pirka the shtusa. You first learn a perek in shtus. In order to know from that his perek in wisdom. The ways of Yira are the perek, the chapter of Chochma, the darche ateva prosov. But the ways of nature and its wildness, he paraka the shtusa. In order to be able to get Chochma, you have to know first the shtus. Right? In other words,
yeah,
you have to know the strategy of Yetzirah.
wow,
One strategy of Yetzirah, obviously, is to keep things abstract. And one of the strategies of Koichas HaNefesh is to make them tangible. Most people are estranged from this wisdom. From the time I knew a little bit, I became like a guardian of Mussar to expand it. Know that Chochma without Mussar is like a bland food milk without salt. I wrote you about this. I brought evidence. He found evidence. He was a great a guardian of Mussar, which is interesting because the Yavitz was a tough guy. Rabbi Yaakov Emden. Maybe it was for him the inheritance from his father. Sorry, by me, maybe it's Usha Sabas. The Broider family is descendant of Chacham Tzvi, father of the Yavitz. So I think the Rav Kashali, can't copy everything he says. The sage said, there's nothing that sharpens the mind like Mussar and Chochma. Because Mussar, which again is concretizing things in this aspect, preserves the seichel from the mistakes of the imagination. Person will not be able to be complete in wisdom. He doesn't have Mussar. You juxtapose them. That's Chochma Mussar. There's Chochma b'li Mussar. There's no Chochma without Mussar. Mat min amatkim dumli shani kasati says pam rum kodo kanki temra isi dvorov. I think I wrote a little bit to you before I actually saw the ibis inside. For Abbas Moti Barnum, we always talked about this. The Varaki came to demonstrate this the case. Nate Tila Rali Rab Goda Chod Alzer Apostle of Medrash Mishlei V'Zel Lashono. One great rabbi showed in Kimi Sheish Bo Chochmo Lomeid Mussar. Somebody has wisdom learns Mussar. Chomish Ein Bo Chochmo Ein No Yochol Limon Mussar. He can't learn Mussar. Harei Kimisha No Lomeid Mussar. Also you can't a Chacham. If you don't learn Mussar, it's a sign that you're not a Chacham. Okay, Ein Yochol Limon Mussar. That's why you don't learn Mussar. Mishu Chacham Be'achrech Lomeid Mussar. Somebody's a Chacham. He must learn Mussar. He must learn a Chacham. That must be can't be a Chacham. Chein Amar Medrash Bereish Chomish Sheish Bo Chochmo Badai Lomeid Mussar. Because we're going Yabitza. He low Tishlam Chacham, Mussar Chacham, that Mussar will not be perfected. We say them before Limur Mussar Tzarech Lios Chacham. How to be Mashibar about Mussar. Pirka the Chochma to know the wisdom, Pirka the Shus and to know the ways of Torah. Canal. Zeb Borla maybe, and this is clear that somebody understands. So, like he opened up in the beginning, right, in terms of Chol Davar the Chayav on the Satzmokil Yatzim. Everything has to be tangible. It doesn't have to be necessarily a great pageant, like the Shuri Das writes that if we really wanted a great pageant, the night of Pesach, really wanted to do Technicolor. We should have done Technicolor with great reenactments, etc., and we just do these small things like Pesach Matzah Mora. So it doesn't have to be something which is a major drama and stagecraft. Either of them makes it worse, because then you focus on the drama and the stagecraft. It has to be something which is concrete, like the Stenders or Reb Chatzkel Levenstein. So a person has to take Yetzias Mitzrayim and concretize it in his mind in a way which makes it personal and tangible. Okay, very good.
Wow. Yeah, this is great.
All right.
That was great. Thank you so much.
Enjoy the rest
And good
of your
night.
day. It's a pleasure. Take care.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.